Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, I'm looking forward to spending some time with you. And today I thought we'd create a design similar to this one here. Now this is on a 6x6 piece of white card, ready to go on a card blank. And I've started doing this because this gives me options. I like to use 6x6. But also, if I wanted to put it on a 7x7 or an 8x8, make it a bit larger, I'm ready there with it, ready to go. If I wanted to add another sentiment, I could pop it on an 8x8 and add another sentiment here. So it's just one of those that I want to have in ready for those emergency cards that we need from time to time. And speaking of which, we're going to use one of our backgrounds for this. So I'll just show you. And I'm going to use a background from our lovely Lavinia Enchanted Forest Collection. Now, these are Dream-Scape papers, and before you say anything, I have had a message saying, Jo, are the papers cheating? Now, in my opinion, no. But as we know, opinions are like noses, and we all have them, don't we? So just for me, I don't think they are, and I don't think we should think that. Papers are just part of our craft stash, and they're good to have. And I mean, these are beautiful, but they're perfect if you're one of our new friends and followers. They're perfect for you to use. But also, if you're a seasoned crafter, got to be honest, I've been crafting for, fair few years. I won't tell you how many. But if I need a card in a rush, I've got a ready-made background. I could make a background if I wanted, but sometimes I haven't got the time, or sometimes I'm not feeling well enough. I've had a few migraines recently, and these are perfect because I can still make a card for a friend. They know I've hand-created it, but it's easy for me if I'm under the weather. Also, if Mr. Mojo goes, and we know what he's like. Now, while I'm talking, I'm just going to be showing you through these papers, look. If Mr. Mojo goes, and he does, doesn't he? He goes on annual leave, and sometimes he forgets to come back. So we can entice him back. Often I find, if I'm struggling with Mojo, I take one of these papers, and look, the double-sided, look. Sometimes it's hard to decide which one to use. But, see, I love this one here, with this swirl. But by stamping one of these up, adding a bit of ink, it's amazing how it does entice him back. But look, they are just stunningly gorgeous. And there's 10 designs in there, as I say, double-sided. So I've cut mine down to a 5.5-inch square. But you also get these 2 offcuts. And for me, what I've done with these is I've used my lovely tag die, and you actually get out of that 2 tags this size and 1 this size. And I stamped one of those up while I was making my card design, and I've added it, look, into my lovely journal where I had a space. I had one of those clean up backgrounds from a stencil, and that is just perfect for me to go on there. Added a couple of my stickers which go with this side. So when I did the video on the journal, I often said just leave a few pages, you know, with your clean up. Look at this. This was just cleaning up some ink off my mat. And something will come around ready to go on there. And just like this, I had it ready and it just goes perfectly. So wonderful. Those free tags. And again, for me, they're my extra bonus. And I don't know about you, I love anything that's for free. Now, when you get this, for me, the hardest bit is which way shall we have it? So I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to start with our beautiful Winifred. Now, she's one of our gorgeous fairies. And I've said this before, if you're not sure where you want her, just use your acetate. So I'm going to come in with my VersaFine Claire, the Nocturne. And what's good about this is I can show you these papers, and they're such a lovely quality. They're 150 GSM, and they just take ink, Wink of Stella. I've spritzed some water, you know, and you just see what you can use. Colouring pencils, gel pens, chalk pastel pencils, so many things, pan pastel. Basically, have a play. Now, I've given her a good inking up. I'm struggling with my finger, my knuckles playing up today. So I've got some ink on there. I need to get that off. So I'm not 100% with my pressure today. But do you know what? We'll stamp her. I should have really got my stamping platform out, shouldn't I? And yes, for those of you that are suggesting that, why didn't I think of that? Hey ho. How many times have you done that? It's like when you stamp something and then you think, oh, I shouldn't have used that colour, or I shouldn't have done that. We all do it, don't we? Must admit, I've had a few of those days recently. I'm sure you do too. Right, so we'll stamp her there. And you know what? I'm happy with that. Look, I look like I've got a little bit of glitter or something there. But fine liner pen and just dots. I'm not going to come in, don't almost scribble colour, but a couple of dots and then that disappears. So I'm going to give her a blot. And then I just want to add a little bit of landscaping round her. So basically we're building this up. We're using that same recipe that we used so many times before. So the focal point stamping, and then the next bit of my recipe is the landscape. So in with the mini hill mask, and we'll just turn around. I just want to ground her a little. So flying fig, or flying pig as it is in my head. Sorry, Tracy. You know what I'm like, these things happen. And I'm just going to come in. I just thought this would bring out those purpley tones in that lovely paper. Yeah, happy with that. And we'll just give this a wipe before we put it away. Good to keep everything nice and clean. Then our circle mask, and we'll add the moon. And you know I like to turn this upside down. This we're going to add Mermaid now. And again, always blending in the lid. And we'll just add the Mermaid around the moon again, and that'll just bring out those bluey tones. If I just take it off to see, yeah. And if I wanted to bring that blue in more, look how it just alters those tones. And like I say, we're creating. We'll give that a wipe because again, we don't want to put that away dirty. But do make sure you put it away because you don't want to lose it. And look, mine's got a little bit of Posca on. Just so if I put it down, I've got a better chance of seeing where it is. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of colour around the edge, just to frame it all. And this coming in with the dark denim. And I'll just start in the bottom corner. And then when I've got the colour I want, I'll whiz along the bottom. And then the next corner. Now I know what my ink pad's like, and I've always said this, you'll know your ink pads. So this in the corners, I'm actually coming straight from my ink pad because I want that depth of colour. And it's lovely how it almost brings out, you notice more of these, the darker blue tones in the paper. And it's amazing how you can almost change the look of the paper by the colours you add. We'll just add some along the top. And then down that side. And at this point, I just check the corners, make sure I'm happy with all of them. And look at the difference. So we're using, as I say, we're using the papers, but we're using that recipe. So we've done our stamping, added our scenery, the moon mask, added the frame. Now I could have smooshed my journal there, but I'll just clean that up today, just because I know what it's like with our catch-ups. So, as I was saying, we've added the scenery, and now we'll add a little bit more stamping. And I just like to do it this way. So I'm thinking along the bottom, I'm going to come in with wildflowers. Now, I love this because it's a silhouette stamp and monarch. Again, I'm thinking those purpley tones. And we'll just add this. Now, for me, I think this reminds me of hollyhocks, that type of thing. So I'm putting this one straight. For me, this wildflowers is growing lovely and straight, and we'll have 3 there. And then let's come in this side. Maybe just have 1 and a little one. I don't want it even. In fact, I'm just going to put one coming off the page there. I like it when it's uneven. I don't want it symmetrical. Then I'm going to come in with the field grass. And as you know, I do this a lot. I'm going back to the black now because I've got black stamping there. So I want to bring black stamping somewhere else in the design. And the field grass is such a lovely light image that you can see won't distract away from our beautiful florals, but it will enhance it, and it looks nice just in the distance, 2nd and 3rd generation look. And I think that's just built up that whole area really beautifully. So again, going on with that recipe like we do, I want to add some foliage at the top. So I'm going to come in with the vine branch. Now again, as you know, I love to use stamps in lots of different ways. You know, we've bought them, we want them to utilise them. And this is fabulous. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to ink up the main stamp in the black to start off with. And it always looks nice if you have a little bit of stamping over the moon. And then I'm going to stamp this corner. See how it's building up nicely. And we'll just have 1 more down the middle there. So again, happy with that, but I want to bring in that lovely purpley tone. I think it will balance it better. So on our lovely wild foliage, we've got this little one that reminds me of the ginkgo leaf. So if I come in with the purple, and what's lovely about this vine branch look, you can add little stamps to it and change the design. So you could add some holly to make it Christmassy. And I just love to do this. And also, almost if it's not bushy enough, we're just extending that design and shape. I mean, for me, it's really to add the colour. But as I say, you can even change what time of year, the season, by the colour and the leaves that you choose. So as I say, for me, that vine branch is so versatile. And if I just show you that, can you see how it's brought that purple in, but also it's just changed that image? So we'll give that a bit of a blot. And then we're on to our lovely finishing touches. So we've stamped up the whole design. So we just want to add, as I say, some lovely finishing touches. So first of all, I've got my gold Wink of Stella. Now I thought it was important to show you that these lovely papers take the Wink of Stella really well. And what I love about this is if I colour her wings, you'll still see all that beautiful detail that Tracy's drawn. But you're going to get that lovely sparkle when this dries. And as I say, it won't obliterate the detail. And for me, it's a lovely, quick way of colouring. So as I say, if you're not feeling 100% and, you know, you're just not in the right headspace for doing lots of colouring, for me, the Wink of Stella just comes in perfectly. And we'll just add it down here, look. And that gold just brings in these lovely sort of goldy tones in the back of the papers. So it's nice that it's all going to work together. So pastel pencil time now. And we'll add a little bit on the moon. And look at that. I love the way this just enhances. And give it a bit of a smudge. And we can also just add some little highlights. Just to give, I don't want to overcook it, but just a few little highlights on the flowers and on our lovely fairy. So a little bit up there, and because the moon's this side, it's just going to catch that side of her arm, and then just a tummy here, and just this side of her leg. And again, you can use a gel pen for this. I'm not going to overcook it with my highlights. But what I do want to do, I want to show you the orbs here. A lot of ladies ask about orbs. Now, these are already on the paper, so it's fabulous. But I can just highlight them a bit more by using my beautiful white pastel pencil look. And you see how they just pop a little bit more. But also, if I want, I can just add a few more of my own look. So again, it's totally up to you how many you want to add. But I will come in with my black pastel and just add a little bit of shadow just under her feet and give her, and again, the moon's there, so my shadow's going to go to this side. And again, I'm just going to smudge it. And the smudging, two things. One, I always think it looks nice. It looks more like a shadow if it's smudged, but it will just fix it. We don't need a spray fixative. It will happily just fix beautifully. To make the orbs look even better, I can get my lovely white Posca here, look, and just put a dot in the middle. And that just makes the orbs stand out even more. Now I can even just add a little bit on the wings, a little bit on her hair, and it's up to you, again, how much. Can add the odd one on my flowers. I don't want to overdo it, but I am going to add some little splats. So I'm going to come in and just add around the lovely orbs some gorgeous white splats. Look at that. And it's up to you how much you want to. I just thought I'd go white because of the orbs. I know I like my yellow. And then finally, I want one of our lovely sentiment stickers. And you know, this is the bit that when I can actually, on my original, I've put silence because she was just there in the silence. But I'm thinking expedition. I want to put a different word. I don't want to put silence. So I'm going to go, she's out on a night walk. The boys love to go on a night walk. So Winifred's going on her expedition. And again, I put my original up here, but let me have a look. Actually, I'm going to put this one down here, just for a change. And that's the finished design. And again, I think this will be so useful for so many different occasions. Now, have you got Winifred? She's one of our older fairies. Have a look, you may have her. If not, might be worth adding her to your collection. You could add a little bird in the tree. Maybe she's looking, maybe there's a fledgling in the tree. Maybe that's what she's looking at. Or is she on an expedition looking for fungi? You could add some of our lovely little shrooms. I'll leave that bit up to you. The end of the story comes from you. I'm here just to start you on the journey, start you on the story. And if you've got our beautiful papers, our lovely Enchanted Forest Collection, please, I'd love you to create a design and share it with everybody, just to remind everybody about our lovely papers. So you take care. As always, thank you very much for joining me. My tummy's rumbling, so I think it's time for me to go and get a cheeky brew and a biscuit, or even a piece of cake. I hope you've got one too. I'll see you again tomorrow. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.